Objection!
Alright, the final day in court. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Today will be the final day of this trial. I hope both the prosecution and defense will be able to present decisive evidence. Mr. Edgeworth, your opening statements. In yesterday's session, the defense presented us with a new theory for this case. He claims the scene of the crime was, in fact, Studio 2. Today, I will call on people present in the Studio 2 trailer that day. From their testimonies, the truth will become clear. Very well. Edgeworth seems a bit on edge today. I am Phoenix Wright, ace attorney, master of dad jokes. You may call your first witness. The prosecution calls Ms. D. Vasquez to the stand. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to introduce them because they refuse to cooperate. Oh wait, no, he does it anyway. Will the witness state her name and occupation? Oh wow, this one cooperates. D. Vasquez. I'm a producer for Global Studios. On the day of the murder, you were in the trailer in Studio 2. As everyone here knows, yes? I dislike needless banter, darling. If you must pontificate, do it when I'm not here. Ugh. How dare you try to one-up me in fancy words? I'm the one with the cravats. Very well, Ms. Vasquez. Please give the court your testimony. Nick, I know she did it. Make her pay. In blood, Nick. In blood. I entered the trailer a little before noon. The meeting began at 12 sharp, ended at 4. There was to be a rehearsal afterwards, so we went to Studio 1. I was fatigued, so I had Sal take me. At 2:30, we took a 15-minute break. Sal and I ate T-bone steaks on the table. Found Hammer's body later when we all went to Studio 1. That's all. I have a question about part of your testimony. You were fatigued, so you had Sal take you? The van. Huh? There's a van at Studio 2, darling. I had him take me in that. I thought it might be risky to walk over that monkey's head toppling over. I see. Very well, Mr. Wright. Cross-examine, please. This is the final battle, Nick. Do it! By yourself? Yes. And you didn't stop in at the employee area? No. Are you always this terse? Yes. Oh dear. Did no one leave during the meeting? No one. Come on, let's talk a bit more about that. The witness did not come here to engage in idle conversation. Stop interrupting the testimony, Wright. The same could be said to you, Mr. Edgeworth. And please stop banging on your little desk. It hurts my ears, darling. And when exactly was that? I've forgotten. Maybe you could try remembering? No. The meeting ended at 4, rehearsal was scheduled for 5. I would think it was between those times. You would think? Come on, all you did was state the obvious, Edgeworth. Hold on. You had Sal take you, what does that mean? It means what I just said. I had Sal take me in the van. Oh, right. And what were you doing during that time? Don't hit your desk, darling. It irritates me. Yeah, Mr. Wright. Oops. Yeah. Do you have someone who can verify this? Sal. No, I mean someone else. One person is enough. She committed murder during that break. She wouldn't have had time to eat a T-bone steak. As some evidence that proves she didn't eat that steak. Huh. Evidence she didn't eat the steak. As I thought. You claim you ate a T-bone steak. But I say you did not. What's this now, Mr. Wright? Look at this. It's a plate. This plate was on the table in the employee area. As you can see, a large bone has been left behind. So this one, you kind of have to think a little bit, because at the trailer outside, they kept calling attention to the fact that something was off about the plates. So you have to present the plates. Mr. Wright, need I remind you, it was a T-bone steak? Exactly my point. Remember, if you will, Ms. Vasquez and Mr. Manella ate at a table outside the trailer. Yet there were no bones left on the plates. The plates were bare. Ms. Vasquez, tell me, how can a person eat a T-bone steak and not leave the bone? I think I know how. You ate the bone too. You ate the bone too. You ate the bone. Nick, are you sure? I mean, I love steak, but even I don't eat the bone. Hey, I don't eat it either. Mr. Wright, I too leave the bone. Can I try that again? I know how. You ate a bone. No. You ate a boneless steak. Elementary, my dear Watson. Mr. Wright, say you are right. What would that prove? Nick. Oh, you don't get penalized for this. I know how! You didn't eat the steak! You didn't eat any steak during that break. You took your steak and threw it somewhere, like that incinerator. I see. And what was Miss Vasquez doing? Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? Picking on salmonella. Mr. Wright, sometimes this court finds it hard to tell whether you are joking or being serious. Oh? I would prefer it if you remain serious. Yes, Your Honor, I'll do my best. Ahem! She was meeting with the Steel Samurai! What are you saying? Yes, Your Honor. As Ms. Vasquez left the trailer, she ran into the Steel Samurai, and then you did it. You killed him with your own hands. Mr. Wright! Isn't that a little presumptuous? What kind of stunt are you trying to pull, Wright? Let him claim what he wants. Darling, you say I did it? Yes, I do. Fascinating. And here I was worrying today would be as boring as all the rest. Very well. Let's have a battle of wits, you and I. Any day, Vasquez. Good luck, Nick. Let's see. What was that murder weapon again? Oh yes, the samurai spear. Yes. I am, as you can see, a woman of petite stature. How could I possibly use that heavy spear as a weapon? You can't. I think you would have a great deal of difficulty using that as a weapon. Pretty much anyone would. Ha! You see? Yes, however, that has no bearing on this case. Meaning what? The samurai spear was not the murder weapon. What? What is the meaning of this? The spear was found lying next to the victim's body. I have proof, Your Honor. Did no one even look at the spear to see if it had blood on it? I can prove the samurai spear was not used as the murder weapon, because I have this photo of this thing somewhere there. Take that! Wrong, Mr. What? Okay, here's the real evidence. This broken. I present my proof. The murder weapon! But that is the murder weapon! Not so fast, Edgeworth. Remember, this spear broke during the morning action scene. Someone fixed the spear. It was the security lady. She fixed it with duct tape. Now tell me, how is it possible for someone to stab a man wearing a thick costume with this through the chest? The order! Mr. Wright, what are you driving at? Think about what you're... Silence! I'm the one testifying here, darling, and I will be heard. Are you quite sane? Are you even aware of what you're saying? If the samurai spear was not the murder weapon, pray tell what was? How was Hammer killed? Well, Mr. Wright. Okay, so I was a little bit ahead. I can tell you. Would I make a claim like that if I couldn't tell you what the weapon was? I'm afraid your confidence can sometimes be unfounded, Mr. Wright. Let's see this murder weapon. Okay, yeah, here we go. I promise, I haven't looked ahead, guys. I'm just like, oh yeah. I thought I was gonna like this could be the weapon, but I had to like go through the logic chain first. Look at this photo. What is this? That's Jack Hammer standing at the top of the stairs. Order! If I can't have order, this trial will be suspended. Mr. Wright, what is this all about? This photograph is from 5 years ago. There was an unfortunate accident at Global Studios. This is a photo of that very accident. Not a word of this was leaked outside. It was a close-kept secret at the studios. What does this have to do with the current case? Mr. Edgeworth, you still can't see it. See the fallen man in this photo? See how the fence post pierced him through the chest? What? Are you saying? Yes. What happened 5 years ago? Has happened again! Mr. Wright, continue! It's 2:30 p.m. on the day of the murder. Ms. D. Vasquez meets Jack Hammer outside the Studio 2 trailer. Then she did it. She pushed Mr. Hammer off the stairs and onto the fence. Just like Mr. Hammer had himself done 5 years ago. But whether she did it on purpose or by accident, I cannot say. In other words, the victim, Mr. Hammer, he died in the same way that he caused another man to die? 5 years ago? Precisely. Ironic, isn't it? Ho-ho! Very creative, Mr. Wright. I could use a man like you on my script writing staff. You deny what I say is true? Mr. Wright, let's say, for the sake of argument, that Hammer died at the trailer as you say. The body was found at Studio 1, was it not? And in the evil magistrate's costume, no less. And are you then claiming I carried the body to Studio 1 and returned to the trailer in the space of a 15-minute break? How could I have disposed of the body? The break in the meeting at the trailer lasted 15 minutes from 2:30 to 2:45. Could Jack Hammer have been pushed off the stairs to his death, then carried to Studio 1 and placed inside his costume? There wasn't enough time. Indeed. Well, Mr. Wright, how could she have dealt with the body? I bet she can move it. You'd be surprised. I bet she could do it. When people think their life depends on it, they can do amazing things! Mr. Wright, this is not an episode of That's Incredible. If you claim she did everything in 15 minutes... Let me guess, show me proof. Correct! I can read your thoughts, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Show me proof. How am I supposed to do that? That I won't have you making unsubstantiated claims. Wait a second, how does he know what I'm thinking? I need only to look at the cold sweat running down your face to know what you're thinking. Mr. Wright, perhaps you'd like to reconsider your claim. How could she have dealt with the body? I was gonna say the van. I bet she could move it. But if she had another way to... Okay. For instance... Actually, for that matter, there was no need for her to do the deed in 15 minutes. And there was a way for you to carry that body. Interesting, let's hear it then. Mr. Wright, please show us how she carried the body. Ms. Vasquez, you carried the body to Studio 1, and you used the studio van to do it. Recall your testimony. Blah, blah, blah. We saw this already. You used the van to carry the body to Studio 1. Then before everyone else got there, you put the body into the magistrate costume. Hold on, Wright. Don't forget it was Sal Manella that drove the van. Are you suggesting Mr. Manella was a conspirator? Of course he was. Of course Sal Manella has to have been a conspirator. The body had to be placed in the van and put into the costume. There's no way Ms. Vasquez could have done that alone. And don't forget they had to dispose of the Steel Samurai costume. They had to, because it was covered in Mr. Hammer's blood. They probably burned it in that small incinerator. Well, Ms. Vasquez, shall I continue? No need. You're smarter than you look, Mr. Wright. I lose, you win. It was fun. I win? So, what happens next? Don't question mark me. Don't you have anything to say? What would you like me to say? Huh? I lost? Something like that? I just said that. Wait, so you mean... D. Vasquez, it was you! You killed Jack Hammer. Who can say? Are you sure I did? Mr. Wright, we just engaged in a battle of wits. And the result of that battle, you proved the possibility that I murdered Hammer. Right. But that is only a possibility. Proof is another thing altogether. You lack decisive proof, Mr. Wright. What? Order! Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts? Of course, it's as the witness says. Certainly, it does seem very likely she did it, but, there's no proof. Edgeworth isn't sure. Well, I came here as a witness today. If you have no more questions, I'll be leaving. What do I do now? Testify again. I'd like you to testify again. Testify again? No one to give up, Mr. Wright. Think about it. Even if I were to testify again, what's the point? I can only say what I said before, the truth. I've already said all there is to say. What would happen if I said it again? You'd ask the same questions, get the same answers. A waste of time, darling. Damn! Come so far, only to fail. I tried so hard, and got so far. In the end, it doesn't even matter. As it seems there are no further questions, I would like to end the cross-examination of the witness, Ms. Vasquez. Yes, Mr. Edgeworth? I was hoping to come up with a question while I was objecting, Your Honor. I did not. I see. Very well. The music starts again. Dun 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 dun. Your Honor. Oh, I love this game. I thought of my question! I request that the witness testify again. You are the prosecutor, are you not? Why are you badgering me? I'm your witness. I just want to hear your testimony again. Does this make any sense to you, Your Honor? I don't see what we have anything to gain by repeating the last several minutes. Mr. Edgeworth, I too see little point in making her repeat herself. What exactly did you want her to testify about? Well, yes, indeed. Verily I say, ergo! Eureka! He thought of the revelation. Ergo, I want to hear about what happened after they found the body. After they found the body? Very well. The witness will testify to the court. Huh. Nick. Why did Edgeworth? Who knows? He probably realized she did it too. But wasn't he the one that said he'd always get a guilty verdict? After all that, Edgeworth, what are you up to? Oh, it's the big finale now. I was with Sal and Oldbags, the security lady, when we found the body. The assistant was there too, only Powers was absent. I immediately called the police, then Powers showed up. The security lady Oldbag was quite agitated, pointing at Powers saying he did it. I asked to be left out of the proceedings. I went back to the trailer to get my script and direction notes. Then I went home. I see no issues raised by the testimony. Mr. Wright, your cross-examination. Okay, Nick, we're close. You heard the music, it's go time. She's acting tough. Put her on the spot, she will falter. Find the key and twist the truth out of her, Nick. Right! What time was that? We would meet at 5 for the rehearsal, so I'd say it was then. When did you and Mr. Manella arrive at the studio? About 10 minutes before. I wasn't stuffing any bodies into costumes, mind you. Press harder. Where were the other employees when you got to the studio? They weren't there yet. Well, you could have put Hammer in that costume with Salmonella's help. Oh? What did I just say? Did I not just say I wasn't stuffing any bodies into any costumes? You should try to listen to what people are saying, boy. But boy, do you not see his glorious haircut? Well, this will continue. Mr. Powers was taking a nap, correct? So he says. Did no one go to call him? Remember. Remember what? There was a dead body lying in front of us. You expect me to be calm? You certainly seemed calm enough when I accused you of murder. Sigh. Wait a second, wouldn't that be the other way around? The other way around, darling. You discovered a murdered body, and one person was missing, right? Wouldn't you normally go looking for the missing person? I have to agree with the defense on this one. Well, Miss Vasquez. Logically speaking, perhaps. But no one there was thinking very logically, I assure you. Also, without his steel samurai costume, Powers doesn't really stand out, darling. That is a bold-faced lie. I mean, the guy looks like he's like the missing link. Come on. We often left him on the bus when shooting at location. No one noticed he was missing. Poor Powers. Well, I suppose that explains that. Very well, you may continue. Excuse me. What was everyone else doing at the time? No one said a thing, darling. It was silent, completely silent. So we stood there until Powers finally arrived on scene. Sorry I'm late. Then, silence, dead silence. Silence. Hey, Nick. Why is everyone so quiet? Someone should do something to lighten things up. Old Bag, the security lady. Why did she think Powers did it? She said because she saw him going towards his studio. Right, the Steel Samurai. Impress on all of these. Did the detective arrest Mr. Powers based solely on her word? Perhaps not. She seems to have also given the detective that photograph. Of course, I heard all this after the fact. Photograph, meaning the one taken by the camera. She's not known for exhibiting the best sense of judgment when it comes to Hammer. I don't think there's anything in there I can use. You asked to be left out? Yes. It seems everyone else was questioned, and I'm really not fond of that sort of thing. But you can't just decide who the police will and won't question. Thankfully, the studio thinks otherwise. They were nice enough to understand that since we were in a meeting. There was no way we could have been involved, thus they covered for us. Covered for you? Or covered it up for you? Must have been a lot writing on it with all those bigwigs at the meeting. I'm sure her professionals helped convince everyone they didn't require questioning. The script in your notes? Yes, they're quite valuable. It wouldn't do to have them stolen. No, I guess not. Wait a second. I thought you came to Studio 1 for a rehearsal. Why didn't you bring your script and notes? Well, I was under the impression we wouldn't be able to rehearse anything. Why? There was a murder after all. Who could think of rehearsing after that? Oh yeah, I guess. Very well, Miss Vasquez, please continue. Your Honor, I have an objection to the witness's last statement. Huh? Think. Ms. Vasquez said she didn't bring the script because there wouldn't be a rehearsal. Don't you see what that means? She would have had to know about the murder before going to Studio 1. Order! Mr. Edgeworth! What you have just said is a reasonable observation. However, I find it hard to understand why the prosecution would do something like this. Or are you thinking of a career change to defense? I appreciate the concern, Your Honor. I will stand by my statements, however, regardless of how the court sees my role here. Now, Ms. Vasquez, do you have an explanation? Can't believe Edgeworth is helping me. So the prosecution is in cahoots with the defense? What kind of court is this? No matter. I think you misunderstood me. I had a perfectly good reason to believe there would be no rehearsal. Very well, the witness will change her testimony to reflect this reason. I knew that Hammer was injured and couldn't do any action scenes, so I left him behind. How did you know about the injury? How did I know? Sal. He told me. Sal, the director. We have to find something to pick this on her here. Everything we've done until now would have been wasted. I believe, Nick. Get them! So, the only way she would have known... I think it's this photo. Yeah, it is this photo, because Powers was injured, not Hammer. You knew Hammer was injured? Don't you think that's a little funny? I mean, it was the Steel Samurai who was injured. It was Will Powers. What? Mr. Wright, explain yourself! Oh my god, I need a drink. Yes, Mr. Hammer is dragging his leg in this photo. But that's because he was pretending to be Mr. Powers. Pretending? One person was injured in the run-through that morning. That person was Mr. Powers, not Mr. Hammer. Now, why did you think it was Mr. Hammer who was injured? I already said it was Sal who told me. That's right, you must have gotten it wrong. I think not. Mr. Manella was at the run-through that morning. He would have known it was Mr. Powers who was injured. He saw it happen. Why would he tell you the wrong person? Ms. Vasquez, you saw Hammer limping. You didn't hear anything from Mr. Manella. You saw Mr. Hammer limping with your own eyes. Yes, but wasn't it Mr. Powers who was injured? Yes, but remember, Mr. Hammer was dragging his leg too. He was pretending to be Mr. Powers. And when was he doing this? Well, it would have to have been after he put on the Steel Samurai costume and went to Studio 2, where he was murdered. Exactly. Ms. Vasquez, you met him, didn't you? You saw the Steel Samurai limping. And Mr. Hammer was in that suit. That's why you were confused. That's why you thought it was Mr. Hammer who had been injured that morning. Order! I will have order! Witness! Can you refute this claim? Yeah, let's see you sneak out of this one, Vasquez. Very well, darlings. I have a question for you. Oh, why are the real killers always so persistent? Why in the world would I want Mr. Hammer dead? Yes, he'd fallen on hard times, but he was a star. I had nothing to gain from his death. Nothing. Yes, you would need a motive. Why would she have killed the victim? There's a reason it is unclear to this court. Does the defense have anything to say on the matter? In other words, can you prove she had a motive? This has gotta be the photo, right? Okay. I have proof and I'll show it to you. I present to the court evidence as to her motive. This is my proof. This is the photo from before. This photo reveals the motive in this murder. I'm right, aren't I, Miss Vasquez? 5 years ago, Mr. Hammer was at the height of his fame. With Dee Vasquez's help, a terrible accident was just swept under the carpet. Ladies and gentlemen, the case currently up for trial. It began on that day, 5 years ago. Ironically enough, that accident precipitated Mr. Hammer's fall. His fall from stardom. His guilt weighed him down, no doubt. However, you, Dee Vasquez, used Mr. Hammer. You made him work for you for petty change. Bringing us to the present day, and Mr. Hammer's last role as the evil magistrate. Yes, undoubtedly it was a constant source of shame for the ex-star. One moment, Mr. Wright. We are talking about motives, yet you have only talked about Mr. Hammer. It almost seems as if it was Mr. Hammer who had killed Dee Vasquez, not the other way around. What motive would Miss Vasquez have? Yes, that's right. According to what you say, I would have had no reason to kill Hammer. He was a good source of income for me. And I never get rid of useful men. It's a policy of mine. Mr. Wright, please explain Miss Vasquez's motive for murder. I'm gonna say nothing. She had no motive, Your Honor. What's this? It was Mr. Hammer who was out for blood. All Ms. Vasquez did was push him off the stairs, in self-defense. What's that now? It's simple. Mr. Hammer was intending to kill Ms. Vasquez. What? What? I like the double scream Edgeworth does. Your Honor, Jack Hammer drugged Mr. Powers with sleeping pills. Jack Hammer snuck into the dressing room and stole the Steel Samurai costume. Jack Hammer wore the costume to fool the security lady into thinking he was Powers. Then, Jack Hammer made his way to the trailer. And for what purpose, you ask? To kill Dee Vasquez, who had so cruelly taken advantage of him all those years. So, you did do it, didn't you? Yes, I am guilty. It was me. Oh, someone call an ambulance! There's blood everywhere. We're too late. Ah, Ms. Vasquez. What? What happened here? Manuel fell from the trailer stairs. Manuel! Ms. Vasquez, please try to remain calm. No, how could this? It was an accident. Mr. Hammer was doing an action scene, and no, Manuel! Don't touch him, Ms. Vasquez. No, I'm just saying random lines. Please don't die, please. Congratulations, Mr. Wright. I lose again. Edgeworth, where's Dee Vasquez? In the waiting lobby, Your Honor, as calm and collected as ever. I see. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. It appears you have brought about yet another miracle. Thanks, Your Honor. I think not, Your Honor. Will Powers was innocent. That he should be found so was only natural, not a miracle. Yes, you're right. Very well. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Will Powers. That is all. Court is adjourned. I don't know what to say. Thank you so much. Suddenly he's not depressed anymore. I'm just glad you're okay. Yes, but it's sad. I know now Mr. Hammer stole my costume. It's bad enough he wanted to kill Ms. Vasquez, but to think he tried to frame me for the murder. It makes me sad. Tell me why, Mr. Wright. Huh? Tell me! Why did Mr. Hammer want to blame me? Well, this is what I think. Mr. Hammer wanted to put the blame on you because of this. It's because you were the Steel Samurai. Because I was the Steel Samurai. Mr. Hammer was a big star once, but he was reduced to acting in a kid's show, and as the villain to boot. The kids loved the Steel Samurai, so he hated you. I think I understand. He could have just told me. I would have changed places with him any time. I think you're missing the point. Thank you. I'm just glad it's all over. So am I. So am I. Congratulations, WP! Oh, ha! Thanks to you, I'll be able to don the Steel Samurai outfit once more. I can't wait to get back to that sweaty costume and... Is something wrong? No, of course not. Ah! Nick Edgeworth. Say something, right? I'm not good at small talk. Huh? What? That was too bad, Edgeworth. You don't waste any time gloating, do you? No, I really want to thank you. Vasquez would have gotten away if you hadn't stepped in. Pleased to meet you. I'm Powers. Edgeworth. I just tried to make you guilty of murder. Please ignore me. I'm a big fan of your work, Mr. Powers. Liar. Right. I must say, I hadn't expected to meet you again after all these years. Meet again? However, in retrospect, it would have been better had we not met. Thanks to you, I am saddled with unnecessary feelings. Unnecessary feelings? Yes. Unease. Uncertainty. Aren't those kind of necessary? They only serve to get in my way. You listen to me, Phoenix Wright. Don't ever show your face in front of me again. That's what I came here to tell you. Mr. Wright? Was that guy your friend? What? Friends? As if... They're rivals, right, Nick? For now, we are... I guess. Huh? Why do I get the feeling I'm missing something? Come on, Nick. Tell me. What's the deal with you and Edgeworth? And so the curtain closed on another trial. I caused quite a stir by revealing that accident 5 years ago. It was the talk of the town. Thankfully, Global Studios rethought its programming change. They went back to making kid shows. Nick! This is it! A new show starts today. You're going to watch, right? I'll admit, I was kind of surprised. I didn't think they'd seriously go through with it. You have to buy trading cards too, okay? We have to trade with Cody and that assistant. Fine, fine, I'll do it. Isn't it great that WP gets to play the lead again? I wonder if they'll show his real face this time. I don't know. I don't think the world is ready for the real Will Powers. Especially beneath the pink princess costume. Oh, the end. Case 3 closed. Case 4. Oh no, it's this guy. No.